Alun, there's been a mixed response to the appointment. Do you feel you have to prove a few doubters wrong here?
A little bit, but when you look at the overall picture of what I've done in my past, it's not too bad. Yes, the endings, it's never great for a manager when you leave a club. When you get sacked from a club, it's never great. You get sacked for one reason, and that was underperforming, and that's what it was. And you've got to look at the years I'd done before that, and what I'd done at Darlington compared to what it was when I first went in. It's a little bit deja vu, I will say that, but I turned that club around. It was in quite a bit of debt. I think I had 9 players which took up the whole budget, and that turned them into a decent squad of players who had some great cup runs, great memories there. Top of the league, flying at one point, and then, as I say, after that, it never went our way. We lost players, never replaced them, and unfortunately, I think after 7 years in management, it took its toll. I built a team every 6 months, and I think it just took its toll on us, and I had to have a break from football, in all honesty.
You're going to have clearly a busy summer ahead of you as well. I mean, there's a bit of a rebuild, I guess, even though there is, 16, 17 contracted players, but I think if some go, there's going to be a bit of a rebuild, you think?
Yeah, there'll be a rebuild, but I look at the squad and there's some top players there, and I want them to stay. The finances will dictate a lot of that, and that's where I've probably earned a little bit, where I'm quite clever in the transfer market. I bring people in and I move them on, and hopefully I think that's what's probably helped the chairman bring us in. I've had a lot of players, we've been successful with them, and I think that's what we're looking to achieve, yeah. And on the flip side of that, we've got some good young kids that haven't been utilised in the last couple of years, and I want to get that back, because I've seen the strength over there. I've seen everything across here in the club in this last year, and I looked at it and I'm thinking, should I go for it, should I not? And it's one of them, because I love the work that I'm doing over there with Tony in the college. It's been fantastic, and I want to continue having my foot in there and helping with them, because I want that progression from the college and the academy into this first team. And that's what I'm on about, the identity. The young lads from the local area, we want to get that back.
You mentioned in your club interview you weren't necessarily looking to get back in the management. Well, what flipped that eventually?
This place, I think, because I was already here, and after speaking with Bernard, and I knew the task was going to be a difficult one, but I never shy away from them. I'll face them head on, as simple as that. And for some unknown reason, I seem to get jobs where there's always a challenge, and whether that's because I'm quite good at that, only time will tell. But I would think in my previous jobs that I have proved that I can turn things around and hopefully get the success that we want. It might not be the success in the last 3-4 years, because they've been fantastic, but, and I touched on it in my interview, that probably we're riding the crest of a wave a little bit and chasing success and chasing that holy grail of the Football League, and then you forget about what's underneath, and you've got to have that base. Without the foundations, we'll not be able to progress, and I think that probably scared a lot of people, and it has in my previous jobs as well. It has, but as I say, I'm here to do a job. I know the task at hand, and fingers crossed I'll get that job done.
Just last one from me. There's obviously been a bit of talk about the financial situation at the club. Are you still able to bring players in when needed?
We'll have to be clever with it, and I'll keep talking with the chairman and the club about it. And again, I've got to be creative. As simple as that. We've got a lot of very good players. Yes, we know we need to add to it. Some might have to go to fund that. We'll deal with that, but we've got to do it as a club, as one. Everyone's got to be on board, and we're probably going to ask a lot of the fans, to be honest with you, because they've had success over the last few years. They're going to have to probably suck it up a little bit and realise what we're doing as a football club, and at the end it will benefit the club massively.
I suppose it's about severing expectations that you touch on there, but you're no strangers in building the club. I remember going and watching your Blight team in Croft Park. You won obviously promotion, won the league, and then to finish in the National League North playoffs as well. It's not something that you're not accustomed to, is building teams up and having success, regardless of sort of what's happened to Dom.
Yeah, listen, the Blythe thing was, I wasn't expecting to get in from the start and then end up being a manager after 15 minutes. And we've got a good team there. I took on a good squad, but we added to it, and then we were really successful. Got promoted, as you say, scored a bag load of goals, and then we managed to strengthen the squad again. And then the following year, we just missed out on the playoffs in the National League North, and that was the first year. The second year, highest ever league position in Blythe's history. So to say it wasn't successful was probably the wrong thing to do, because I think what we're done with Blythe was really, really good on the budgets that were had at that time. But what happened then is, because the players done so well, what normally happens, bigger clubs come and take them away and you've got to rebuild again, and that's when the Darlington job probably attracted us a little bit more.
Yeah, just really, what was it about Alun that sort of stood out?
Probably because I know a lot more about Alun than the other candidates. The other candidates were absolutely fantastic. I'd probably say it was probably one of the hardest decisions I've ever had to make. I've interviewed people in other roles, but not in football. It's a strange animal to be involved in. But because I know what he can do, and I also know he knows a bit more of where we're at, what's behind the scenes, what's been holding we're up, the sort of ambitions we had, and we need to be realistic. And I think being realistic, Alan's got the capabilities to handle that, to put us back on course, put us back at the centre of the community. We chased a dream, and the dream's still there, but we just need to understand who we are. And I do think we forgot, by chasing that dream, where we come from. And I think Alan's the man who can steady it, because he knows exactly where we're at.
Do you feel that the relationship needs to be repaired somewhat with the fans?
There's a lot of relationships need to be repaired, and it's a slow process. There's things that we're busy on moving forward, and it's positive. There's a lot of good people around Gateshead Football Club, from the people who sell the 50-50 tickets right through into the management. There's a lot of people still here. Certainly a lot of players last season. It would be great to be thinking we could go there again, but in real terms we need to pull things back and manage ourselves. We've got a good ownership group, and we've always got to remember that without them, where are we? The fans are great, they do what they can. The fans supporter society is absolutely brilliant in what they do. I think everybody needs to come back and realise what's important, and for me the important is the club being here, supporting itself in the community, supporting the different parts of the club which seem to drift a bit, connections to the ladies, connections to the academy, even in the college. You know, we're one club, and we need to remember that, and we need to come back together and move forward for the better of Gateshead Football Club.
I mean, obviously, respect, it doesn't necessarily matter where managers come from, but obviously Alan's from the North East. Something that stood this club in such good stead in the past is, you know, the likes of Greg Ollie coming through, even when Steve Watson was here, you had a good core group of young sort of local players. I mean, that's something that I suppose that you had conversations with Alan with again about buying into.
Well, I think that's where we need to sort of go back to. We've had some fantastic young local players come through who've done extremely well, repaired their career in football, went on to better things, which obviously helps us along the way because we have some financial reward from that. But we also have the benefit of their skills improving and putting us in a situation where we're playing football on the pitch and getting results. So we can look around when we have an issue to solve, and sometimes I don't think, my view is we didn't look around the doors as much as we'll look to what we can find to fill at the time. And that's his biggest task, is let's try and get back to where we were and rebuild from the doorstep, because there's some great young kids out there. There's some great lads coming out of local academies. There's some other lads who perhaps for one reason or another, more senior in their career, need to come back into an environment which supports them.
Will the loan market be utilised as much as it was last year, or will it be, say, try and bleed some kids in here and there when needed, or will it be a large contingent of loans from the off of the season?
I think loans can be great, don't get us wrong, but we've got, what Bernard's just touched on there, we've got to start utilising these young kids, otherwise we'll lose them. And if we're not building them relationships with them, then whatever, as a football club, you know, like I used to watch Luke here when he played, and Greg Ollie and that. I used to watch Tinks, all young kids, and I knew them from when they were younger. And it was great to see them develop at this football club, and then they've gone on and had decent careers. Now, can we do that? Can we repeat that? That's what we want to start doing, but with the help of the current lads that are in there. You need that seniority in there, you need that experience alongside it. We can't flood it with them, we just need to make sure that we get that balance right. But there will be times we will need to use the loan market, but it's not something that I particularly like, because sometimes you're just getting a player fit for another club, or sometimes it's just, he just needs games. And he's not, if they don't buy into your club, then there's only one person benefiting, and that's not the football club, that's a certainty.
I think we've actually had some good success with loans.
Definitely.
The hard part of it is always to realise that they're coming in and we're making them better for somebody else to get the benefit of that. You know, I look recently, Dijon Brown scoring the winner, the penalty at Wembley, absolutely fantastic. But he fitted in to the community. He became part of Gateshead community. Camille Conti actually rang us up the other day and, you know, congratulated us for the position I'm in now. You know, they still have contact back with these young lads who come in from other clubs, help us to move along, and that's what we need, is those kids, when we need to go down that route, that we are in that sort of situation, but obviously realise the resources we put into that, somebody else gets the rewards out of it. If we don't need to go down that route, it would be far better for Gateshead in the long term, but equally there's some good connections still available to it that can help that situation to look at the gaps that we need.